I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test, part 585, while doing a lunch training. And if you participate in the lunch training, this is at your own risk. So the lunch training, these are isometric exercises in squat and a lunge. And the second half of the video. Now, we are right in the middle already in shooting a video about the cabinet. We already did 5-6 takes, but the problem seems to be that we forgot to prepare. We were never able to do it really. Okay, what we want to say is that in the United Kingdom general elections happens, and that, yes, I'm already summing there. What do I say there? The party which these are 5-6 steps, and I don't know, should I go faster with them or should I explain them in detail? In the United Kingdom general election happens. That means all the people vote. And when one political party wins, and the leader of that political party is the Prime Minister. It's already so much explained, and still so little. Because what do the people know do with that information if they know nothing? In the United Kingdom, voting happens. And the political party for which most people have voted for was they're not voting for the political party, they're voting for the members of parliament. In the United Kingdom, general elections happen, so voting. And the political party which wins the voting has won the general election. And that political party appoints them, or has them, the Prime Minister. And that Prime Minister then selects around 20 people to become the, what are we now? Are we now the Secretaries of State? These are ministers in charge of departments. And they are called Secretaries of State. Who? The ministers. And they have then these departments, of which these Secretaries of States, which are ministers in charge of departments, are having Ministers of State. These are two things we're trying to explain, and we can't never really decide how we're going to explain them, and what are we even explaining. That's the problem. There are the Secretaries of State, technically just the other ones, a part of a Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary and Chancellor of Exchequer are called like that, I think. But all of them are ministers in charge of a department. And these ministers in charge of department have Ministers of State. And these Ministers of States, they are also called Parliamentary Undersecretaries of State. And they are not the Secretaries of State, they are just the Ministers of State, or the Parliamentary Undersecretaries of State. But with the Undersecretary, it makes most sense. Maybe we're just going to try it again. We want to tell that, and then we're going to want to tell who these, for example, are. And then I have an expert. I'm always saying oftentimes Foreign Home Secretary, or not that, but Secretary of Home Department, Foreign Secretary, Secretary for Foreign Affairs. There are so many different names, and it is just Home and the Secretary. But when it is Secretary of State, and the first one is the Chancellor of Exchequer. I don't even know what this one is pronounced. And they are then the Ministers of State, or Parliamentary Undersecretaries. And then we're going to say that they're meeting, and that is the next thing. What are we doing there? These ministers form the cabinet, a committee which usually meets weekly and makes important decisions about government policies. And they are making important decisions about the government policies. It is not explained with own words, and other people also do not understand it if they haven't understood it already. Most people understand it already, so if I use these words, we understand it, but not because I explained it. I'm talking about the policies. They are the government. I'm just bringing up a new name. I never mentioned government in the whole thing. What I wanted to say, I'm talking about general elections, the Prime Minister, the Chancellor, the Secretaries of State. I never said who the government is. I cannot just bring in a new term without explaining it. I'm here to explain what the cabinet is. I cannot assume that the people know what the government is if I explain the cabinet. About how we want to go on in the following time. And then, no, first bit, differently as they have written it here. Of defense. And all these departments of which these secretaries of state are the ministers of have then other ministers, smaller ministers, undersecretaries. And they are then called ministers of state. So these are the ministers of what? Of nothing. Ministers in charge of departments. They are the secretaries of state and they have ministers of state. No, it makes more sense. Secretaries of state are in charge of departments in which ministers of state work. That makes sense. But these secretaries are also ministers. No, it doesn't make sense anymore. But I think we're close enough. Let's try it again. We have time for around 2 takes. So when we're going to say that we have departments and they are the ministers of state working, but they are also, what are we now called? Each department also has a number of other ministers, called ministers of state and parliamentary undersecretaries of state. Is that the whole title? Or is the title ministers of state? Or another one, parliamentary undersecretaries of state? These are 2 listed here. I have a second camera to trying to talk. In the the cabinet. In the United Kingdom there are general elections happening. And in these general elections, all the people are voting for a person. And all these persons, most of them, are in political parties. And the political party, which has the most people who have been voted for in all these areas in the United Kingdom, these constituencies, wins the general election. So in short, the political party which wins the general election wins the general election, and the leader of that political party which has won the last general election is the Prime Minister. And that Prime Minister appoints around 20 people of his political party to become Secretaries of State. There are, for example, the Chancellor of RKFIOKYE. That person is responsible for the economy, or the Home Secretary. And that person is responsible for immigration, police, or crime. Or the Foreign Secretary, responsible for the relationships with other countries. But there are more Secretaries of State, for example, for education, health, or defense. So around 20 of these people. They are Secretaries of State, and they are leading a department. And in that department are then the Ministers of State working. So the Prime Minister appoints the Secretaries of State leading a department in which Ministers of State are working. And these Secretaries of State, they are the cabinet. So the Prime Minister appoints the Secretaries of State. And these Secretaries of State, around 20 people, are the cabinet. And they are meeting from time to time, once a week for example, and then they're talking about how the course of the government, of their political party, the decisions in the country should go on, because these 20 people are in charge of 20 different departments of education, health, defense, home, immigration, police, crime. So these 20 people who are in charge of all these departments in which the Ministers of State are working, these Secretaries of State appointed by the Prime Minister, they are the cabinet. And that is according to the Life in UK Test Handbook, page 111 and 112. So this states basically just one problem. I'm not saying all the syllables of the words in some of these words which I just said. I'm skipping some syllables. So what I want to say is not everyone can understand what's up there. But I think it was good from the information. Now to the lunch training. If you're here to talk about the core values of civil service, then you can go to the next video. because we will do now just the lunge training. If you participate in the lunge training, that's at your own risk. And we're doing the grating mushroom, leg up and bring the foot up and down, up and down, up and down. And now the other leg, we bring the foot up and down. And the next exercise, we're breathing in, going down. And we're breathing out. Get in. And out. And now breathe in and cross the legs. And out. First exercise. The 6 back squat squeeze. The legs are standing wide apart. We're going down into quarter squat and we're pressing against the top of the leg. Now we're doing it on the other side. Now we're going down into half squat and we're pressing again at the top of the leg. And we're pressing at the other side. We're going down into 3/4 squat and we're pressing again at the knee. And we're pressing at the other side. Next exercise, the fastest giraffe of a waterfall. We're going down into 3/4 squat, we're pressing against the knee. And we're going towards the knee. Press against the knee. And go towards it. Again. And again. Again. And again. Directly over to the next exercise, the propeller. Full squat. Going over to one side. Looking up to the head. Pressing against the leg. And we're having a little bend in the elbow. Back into the middle. Over to one side. Press against the leg. Little bend in the elbow, look up to it. Into the middle and to the lunges. 90-90 lunge. And pull up with the back. And we're pressing against the top of the knee. Over to the other side, 90-90 lunge. And press against the top of the knee, turn up with the back. Over to the other side. 90-90 lunge, 91 and 35 degree lunge, turn up with the back and pull the back. And over to the other side. 91 and 35 degree lunge and pull the leg up with the tall back. Over to the other side. 91 and 50 degree lunge, turn up with the back and now pull at the top of the shin bone. And over to the other side, 90 degree, 150 degree lunge, turn up with the back and pull at the top of the shin bone. Last exercise, the rod jumper. Full lunge, turn up with the back and pull at the top of the shin bone. Over to the other side, full lunge, turn up with the back and pull at the top. And now, the stretching. One leg with the heel onto the ground and pull the toes up. The other one with the heel onto the ground and pull the toes up. Now clap in the morning, feet together, lift the arms up. Bring the arms down, breathe out and open the chest to the sky. Again in. And out, arms down. Again in. Close the hands, breathe out and come back. The feet in the wind. Again in the middle. And out again back. Breathe in into the middle. And out we're doing the down diving dolphin. Now, bend the left knee. Bring the heel of the right leg to the right and turn the body to the right. Bring the toes of the right leg to the right and turn the body to the left. Both legs straight into the middle again. Bend the right knee. Bring the heel of the left leg to the left and turn the body to the left. Bring the toes of the left leg to the left and turn the body to the right. Both feet together, both legs straight. We're breathing in, we're doing the up diving swan. Come up again. And we're closing exercise. We're breathing in. Out. Again in. Out. And last time. Out. Breathe in. Close the legs. And out. That was lunch training. I thank you very much and until the next time.